right. You get it right. We made it. Made it through the weekend, man. We lived. We survived. Stay above 6 feet. Welcome to No Cap. 4DC. Had to get tightened up, man. I, just wait. That's gonna start making itself real prominent here soon. Just because in order to communicate and speak to folk how you need to speak to them, sometimes you gotta really show them what you're talking about. We on the way, but we're gatekeeping it, fact checking. Gatekeep, man. When you hear about it, first thing you think of is what? Like, what's the first thing you think of when you hear somebody is a gatekeeper? Pretty much the same. Like when you think of phrase gatekeeper, first thing you think of is that's a hating ass nigga over there. There's no way around it. And then when you think about fact checker, first thing you think of when you hear fact checker. Me, when I hear fact checker, I automatically am critical. All right, what are your credentials and what's your stance? If you're fact checking, are you looking at it from an unbiased point of view, or are you looking for information that's going to feed your perspective? But from unbiased point of view, just coming ahead first in the conversation, we need gatekeepers and we need fact checkers in all facets of life. For example, right, with gatekeeping, like people are gatekeeping for the wrong reasons. Usually for one or a few reasons. Want to hold somebody else back because you don't want to see them win. You only want to see them win if you're gonna profit something. They gotta pay you to get in, which is just hater. Or third one, which is I'm gatekeeping just because somebody told me that's why I need to be doing it. You're not thinking about it, why you're doing it. You just, hey, security. Mm, can't get in if you have capacity. All of those are the worst reasons to gatekeep. Good reasons to gatekeep. Don't need an overabundance. We need a limited amount of people doing this right here. For example, like AAU. Growing up, AAU used to be only the top of the top should play AAU. You had to be all city, all region, all state. People had to be coming to watch you play, and you had to have some kind of actual gravity to your game, be AAU. So the teams were limited, the tournaments were limited, and it was like premier events to go to an AAU tournament compared to now. If you got two legs and a parent with a little bit of money, you can play AAU. And you don't even have to play for the same team. You can play for 4 or 5 different teams, bounce back and forth, go here, go there, which coaches, which academies, which teammates, just like that. You had gatekeepers to limit the amount of teams, limit the amount of players per team, limit the amount of teams that you even respecting from a certain region. And you could make sure only the cream of the crop will participate, but you need a gatekeeper for that. Somebody checking and filtering and categorizing and sorting, dismissing and fighting, and control all of that. Other situation where gatekeeping pops up with podcasts. Boom, boom, right now. So podcast. There'll be an overabundance or oversaturation of people with opinions talking about the same topic. Just face the content creation. This is what people are talking about. This is what gets the most attention. So I know how to speak English. They can speak English. Buy some microphones. Let's sit down and just talk about this. And let's be as scintillating and as flagrant, as egregious as possible. Get as much attention as possible. Regardless of whether we believe what we're saying or the impact of what we're saying. I've seen other people do it and get money. Let's do it. Terrible. The flip side. Then we talking about professionalism being in a certain environment, work-wise. You don't want everybody at your job. Everybody shouldn't be at your job. There are certain people who are not qualified. Same with everything. Because at its core, that's what gatekeepers. Making sure that this individual, this group, is qualified to participate in whatever the situation is. And sometimes the qualifications is just what's your passion for, what's your level of interest. Other times your qualifications are you need to have gone through this level of testing or have this much experience. And if you don't, go ahead and go that route. That's gonna but there also needs to be like gatekeepers for the gatekeeper. Has to be some kind of structure because then you have people who are nitpicking. Don't need the nitpicking because the nitpicking has led to the people controlling situations, ill intent. There's no need for that. When you have people that are controlling situations for money or just because they told you, that's when the gatekeeping goes far left and too far. But when you have people whose intent is, let's just make sure this space remains sacred and is respectful and remains respectful, then you're good. Good. When it's not respectful and when the sanctity of the situation isn't of the utmost priority, then you get in the situations where the people who participate don't respect. It's all about making the money. You wanted me to pay you to do it, so I'm coming in at a disadvantage. I paid you, now I need to make money back, make more. The gatekeepers have already hit off that making money is the most priority or of the utmost priority in place, instead of your passion or your qualifications or your prerequisites. That brings the problem with gatekeeping because not always what you do, but how you do it comes to situations like that. And we need gatekeepers. We need them because we need structure, we need discipline, we need law and order. Otherwise, people will just get to doing what the fuck ever. And you have to control that. If you don't control it, it gets chaotic. And with chaos, there's always destruction. People want to tear it down until it doesn't exist anymore. Move on to the next thing. With fact checkers, those are like, okay, let's say gatekeepers are the bouncers outside the club. They checking IDs, they winding people down, they're looking people over just to make sure it's a certain ratio or a certain quality of people inside the establishment. Fact checkers are security inside the club, making sure that, all right, everybody's operating how they should. There's not any arguments, not any belligerence going on. People are paying like they should. People are participating how they should. And there's no illegal activity going on outside of what we're here to present this environment for. Fact checkers are just as important as gatekeepers, and they work hand in hand. But we have them in certain situations, but not in other situations, which shows really just how backwards the world's become. We have gatekeepers that'll keep people from starting businesses or educating themselves or progressing in life. But we don't have gatekeepers on influencers, role models, mentors, or people who are in the public view and have any kind of pull or impact on society. So the people who work quietly, mind their own business, there are gatekeepers to keep them from progressing incognito, but there are no gatekeepers in charge of controlling who's influencing the masses. It's backwards. And then get past that, because there's no security outside, security inside. So you got a bunch of people trying to be influencers, trying to be content creators, and nobody trying to be role models, because that's not what we're here for. I want to impact you, want to impact you in a way that makes me money. Be a role model is to be a mentor, which is to be a teacher. And you see how teachers are paid. To be a content creator is to be an influencer, is to be a celebrity. See how celebrities are paid. Entertainment is oversaturated to the nth degree, but education is starving, like bone dry. I see the meme all the time where there's the white lady holding her baby above water, and then you got the skeleton sitting in the chair at the bottom of the ocean. That's the difference between entertainment and education. And the job of a gatekeeper is to understand the process so you can understand how people flow through the process. The fact check is to be more educated. The fact check, you have to be knowledgeable, not just of the process, but of information about the process. For example, hey, you right, gatekeep. I need this amount of teams from this many regions. There's going to be this many players on the team, and these are the tournaments. It's very cut and dry, macro level. These are the macro logistics. Fact checker for your birthdays. What jerseys do you wear? What city are you from? What school do you play for? Who's the coach? What stats did you have? Fact checkers, like dealing in the micro, dealing more so in the data. And with the state of society as it is now, the real deal, like we need a lot more fact checkers. But we need gatekeepers because yeah, we still need the gatekeepers, but that's to stem the tide of people coming into different environments. We need fact checkers to start kicking people out. Go back to the example. There's too many people in the club already. The limit was 2,500 people. We had 7,000. And they in there reckless, raunchy. This folk skiing in the bathroom. This folk throwing up at the bar. Folk fighting and at the same time. Throwing punches that way and throwing that way. Need fact checkers say, I got to go, you got to go, you got to go. And specifically like the influencer space, content creator space. Because with introducing AI, everything got so much more complicated and convoluted than it was before, more chaotic. Because we're already in a bad space where real people are taking pictures of real people. And spoke on this episode before. Take a few pictures of somebody, pull up a paragraph of whatever scintillating information they can put together, and then all of a sudden, boom, news is nobody fact checked, nobody made sure that the source was verified. Just you said it on social media, it must be true. There's no consequences to putting out false information. Only benefit. I'm gonna share it. You're interested in this entertainer, so you're gonna share it. People that you know are gonna share it, and because I'm getting the attention, I'm gonna get paid for that information. And it's easy, which makes it all the more toxic. I can be as reckless with people's perception and with information as possible, and no consequences. And there's only going to be a potential for financial gain from it. Don't see the problem there? We need the consequences. The consequences are a result of the fact checker. We need folks that are for sure making sure that this information is correct, and if it's not, you have to face consequence for this information being. But now we introduce AI. We have real people making up stories for real people. Now you've got real people using technology to manipulate reality. Crazy. Like, because a lot of people can't even tell the difference between reality and with pictures, because there was a, I don't know when it happened, but there's just a trend of people all having photo shoots just for whatever reason. Birthdays, birthday parties. And those be different. Like you got birthday pictures, then you got the party pictures, then you got anniversary, graduation, any event, or just felt like it. Got pictures, but I don't want still images. I want the real photos. They can be doctored, edited, washed that way, look perfect. And AI photos are similar to these photos where they're fake, but AI just adds a little bit of cartoonish, little, little cartoon. But anybody that's ever seen the movie Beowulf, AI is like that. I can take something that looks like reality. Just a little bit of that. And if you're not in the know, you wouldn't know the difference. You'll see all the time, there'll be a random story about a random celebrity doing something. And there's nobody who's going to check and see if that celebrity's actually doing anything. Just, man, seen it. Thought that was pretty cool. I shared it. Flip side of that is when it's false information or if it's degrading to that individual, the same process is going to happen. Used to just receiving the information and just taking it as law. So when you getting false information, you're receiving it the same way, going, dang, crazy they do that. You take it as fact. You go on about your day. There's no consequence. Because there's no social consequence, there's no personal consequence. They don't get in trouble with the group, so they don't get in trouble with you. Nobody else seems to care, so why should I? Society's real monkey see, monkey do. So if nobody else is laying down ground rules, the individuals are less likely to lay down any boundaries. And interesting because one of the key words right now is Strict. 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 Not strict. 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 Strict is one of those words, and to be strict is to have discipline, and from discipline comes boundaries, rules. And it has been used. The word strict is being used now to be offensive. I'm authoritarian. Dictatorship. Things have to go my way or else. No discipline behind it. Like there's no purpose for any of the ground rules. Trying to say it's just preference. Not how strictness works. To be strict, there has to be discipline behind it. There has to be a purpose. To just be picky, no other logic behind it other than because I said so, it's not being strict. So you're not gatekeeping or fact checking, it's just how I feel. And we talked about these feelings before. Over feminist society, how you feel, not be what's the most important to yourself or others. Because feelings change, impulses come and go. Your emotions are temporary. Why would you base a long-term decision on a temporary situation? I mean, you can. Yeah. Hey, you'll just be a dumbass. That's okay. Some people will never be more than just dumbasses. Ain't help them. For folks who can aspire to be better and can be better, why would I let you be around me and limit yourself? I don't limit myself. I'm constantly expanding my horizons. If I allow you to be around me and you're not the same way, I'm doing myself the same. But for folks going, I mind my business, no, you're not. What you're around, what you allow around you is what's going to impact you. We need gatekeepers at every level. Every single individual should be gatekeeping to some degree. Gatekeeping for yourself, for your environment, for your kids, for whatever situation you striving for. That's what being strict is. People, everybody should be strict to some degree. And everybody should be fact checking. I don't care if you're not even a gatekeeper. If you just allow anything to happen around you, you would hit you. Cool. But everybody should be fact checking. You got to make sure that shit is real. You got to make it make sense. There's no excuse on why you shouldn't be fact checking. It's delusional. Whatever happens, happens. It is what it is. That's just don't fly. Everybody should be fact checking. So to get to the situation right with gatekeeping and fact checking, both. Let me bring it to a scenario in which, if it was done correctly, in just one small scenario, it would make all the difference. Okay, right. So we all born, grow up through a school system. School uniforms and code of conduct. Rules that were developed by superintendent, principal, vice principal, or board of directors somewhere. Gatekeeping. But properly. Why? Because if you cannot behave a certain way in specific environments, there's no way you're going to flourish. Each environment has its own rules in order for you to can't go to the club the way you would go to work, same way you would go to a funeral, same way you go to graduate, same way you take the trash out. These environments require different things. And if you don't teach the appropriateness of social awareness, you basically have failed that entire generation and entire group. So teach the kids, all right, this is how you present yourself, how you behave yourself, how you treat other people. Proper gatekeeper. Then when you get to the code of conduct and uniform, you get to the fact checking. Okay, if you do not, these are the rules and these are the consequences. You can't deliver consequences if you're not fact checking. You can't expel somebody for coming to school with the wrong color pants on. And this is their first offense. It doesn't make sense. The crime doesn't fit the punishment. So now everybody is at this way where it feels restrictive, overly restrictive. Or as you go from elementary to middle school to high school to college, that expectation of social responsibility changes. Elementary school kids are expected to be treated this way and behave a certain way. You go to a public middle school, the rules will be different from the elementary school. You go to a private high school, the rules are going to be different. You go to a college, what's expected at HBCU will be way different from what's expected at Ivy League school or what's expected when you study abroad. So as you coming up through these systems, you have to be aware of who the gatekeepers are, what their rules are, and what their expectations are. And then you have to be aware of the fact checkers in these situations and what impact they can have on you having a long-term goal to aspire to. And back to the duality of these situations, like without gatekeepers and fact checkers, we have less people with goals or aspirations. You would have thought that if you have more gatekeepers, more fact checkers, you would have less people aspiring to do anything because there's so many hurdles, so many obstacles you have to move. The other way around, the less gatekeepers you have and the less fact checkers you have, less people that want to even entertain going on that path. Because if anything goes at any time, lawless, chaotic. Why would I participate if I have to be just volatile and less intentional about what I'm doing? Then there's this clear expectation of where I'm going. Another example, I like making things visual. You'll see track and field. Track and field might be 12 lanes. You run around the track. Now imagine if the track disappears. You just got 12 runners in an open grassy field. They're not next to each other. They're not in front of each other. They're not even all facing the same direction. And you tell them the first one to run 100 meters is the winner. Just 100 meters. But who's timing? Who's measuring? Who's spectating to make sure everybody's on the same board? Who's making sure people aren't cheating? It's just I start running, and then when I say I'm at 100, it is what it is. That's how it is in a lot of spaces where there are no rules. It's just, hey, figure it out. And then once you can get enough people behind you to co-sign whatever you present, then you made it. You don't have to do things the right way. There's no respect for it. There's no structure. And then those people are usually the ones who try to reshape the situation and control it and then rebuild it within their image of what it should be like. But why should anybody respect their opinion if they didn't even go through the situation that they're expecting to put others through? The intent is off. It's an uncomfortable feeling, but the expectation has to come from somewhere. And if, as a group, we don't together and come to terms with what our expectations are when it comes to gatekeeping, then it becomes harder to fact check and it becomes harder to really protect or respect the environment in which we're trying to present people. And that's tough because now I try to apply that to situations like dating. Anybody can date, no matter if they're already in relationships or not, whether they can be honest and forthcoming, whether they're dating as themselves or not. Nobody fact checking, just hey, I'm here, you're here, that's enough. Dating is so lawless. Why everybody says that it's like a swimming pool full of piss. No gatekeepers, no fact checkers, because people are not coming together as a group and establishing codes of conduct or rules. Everybody says, not my business. And if you got 99 people seeing something wrong happen, going, shoot, it ain't me. Everybody is a sucker waiting to be licked. Pause. It's true. Taking in different situations. Sports. Kids can play sports whenever they want, however they want. AAU, you can play 7 days a week if you want to, all year round. And now the generation that exacerbated the rigorous training and aggressive participation in sports. Now that they're adults, bodies are breaking down easier. There's nobody to gatekeep. There's nobody to fact check and keep these boundaries lined up. So now you reaping the rewards of, hey, whatever you want. And that's usually the situation where you don't have the gatekeepers or fact checkers. If you don't face the consequences up front, that means that the ones coming on the back end is life changing. It's like, would you rather get slapped in the face or would you rather walk through that door and get hit in the face with a sledgehammer? Easy decision to make. But even in the situations where people try to establish themselves as gatekeepers or fact checkers, you have to have some kind of self confidence behind you. And the same just gravitas and the same swag of fuck it that makes rap music so big and that makes black culture so impactful. That same fuck it mentality has to go towards establishing boundaries and gatekeeping because one of the symptoms of being overly feminine is being impulsive. You receive criticism, the first impulse you're gonna have is to match negativity with negativity. You're making me uncomfortable, so what can I do to lash out? Make you stop. You say it all the time. Dating advice coaches. You said something I don't like. You gotta be gay. You giving me some kind of advice that feels like personal for myself. So how can I nitpick who you are as a person? You need the majority rules in these situations because when it's one upstanding person, people will try to tear the person down to negate the rules that they represent. So when you got a group of people representing the rules and structure, ain't tearing down one by one because it's too easy to flip around and go, who are you to question us? Oh, we see why you question it. You're not questioning because you're being authentic. You fighting structure and you fighting discipline just because you are guilty of whatever it is. And it's easy to see it's the same process. Life is long. As much as people try to complain about it, or it goes by fast, no, it doesn't. Life is long. You talk about years and decades or however long you've been doing something. We know life is long because when you're being productive and you maximizing your day, it feels like it. Yeah, athletes be like, man, that 15 years of playing whatever sport went by in a flash. No, didn't you just were locked in? Guaranteed, because if you were to do planks for 15 minutes, after 3 minutes, you'd be in there like, man, hey, this is taking forever. Transitive properties, like your perspective, something that can easily be controlled, and it shapes the outlook. So if you can't establish gatekeepers and fact checkers that provide foundation for perspectives and outlook, there is no perspective, there is no outlook. It's impulse, ruled by impulse, controlled by emotion, and emotions are controlled by chemicals in your brain that are constantly changing throughout the day. And if you were to break it down in that understanding, it'd be crazy. I let my 8:05 a.m. Tuesday morning fuck up the next 50 years of my life. 50 years of life just ruined because of 8:05 a.m. If you approach things that way, you will hear how crazy it is. And again, when we get to these conversations, when get more participation, I hear the comments, have a conversation on what does gatekeeping look like for you, from your perspective, and is it good, is it bad, is it being done correctly, how could it be done correctly? About fact checking, are there enough fact checkers? Are you fact checking? What are your goals and aspirations for yourself? And as much as that is important, we also need goals and aspirations for ourselves as a group. And that's where a lot of us fall short. It's all about me. You know, if you were to measure both, what are my goals and aspirations for myself and for the community I belong to? And you make sure that they're aligned, it becomes real easy to determine who's gatekeeping, who's fact checking, what do we agree on, what do we disagree on, and where's the wiggle room for ambiguity? Because you need both. Because never heard it, never researched it, never thought about it. This is just simple observation from Humans and the complete lifespan of a human could be measured in birth, reproduction, death. If you didn't do one of the three, you never lived. So for the people who choose not to reproduce, there's no history after a certain amount of time if you ever existed, because your bloodline ceases. And being an uncle or being a cousin isn't strong enough to keep track of who you are. Those are the people that are forgotten about the quickest. The childless aunts and uncles or sons and daughters that their line stops at them, quickest people to forget. But for the people who participate in all three, which is the majority of us, we need to be cognizant of what are my goals and aspirations? What are my goals and aspirations for my community? How do they correlate? And what are we doing to make sure that we can achieve both, not just for my benefit, but for the benefit of those around me? Can't succeed if the people around me can't succeed. We need each other to succeed. And if I'm not, what does it look like for your kids? What does it look like for your family members? And those are the people who typically make up your community. So your community isn't succeeding and isn't meeting their goals. Chances of you meeting yours are slim to none. So you need the gatekeeping and the fact checking to be able to hang your goals up here, and then you got to aspire to those goals by making sure that there is some kind of structure or infrastructure in order for people to take that route to get there. But that's the uncomfortable foundation building part of life. Not sexy. You never hear anybody walk into a house and go, damn, the foundation of that house is so stable. Look at the floor. The floor is so even. Your walls are so strong. Pause. You always hear people complaining about the amenities. Celebrate the amenities. Those are the impulses. Those are the most of the temporary things, the things that break quickest. Life celebrates the foundation, the structure, the discipline. But we need to start celebrating. Because from that, then everything else flourishes. Nobody cares about your marble floors if you got a hole right there in the bottom of your foundation and your floor is starting to fade. Nobody cares about that. I don't want to fall in. I do not care. You need the foundation before you can do anything else. But what I know, man, I ain't nothing but a podcast gatekeeper and an information fact checker. For everything around me got to make sense. Because I got goals I'm trying to reach, and I got goals that I want my community to reach. But again, we'll be back tomorrow, man. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Tell a friend to tell a friend, because this is a space where folk can communicate, not be judged. Because I'm going to say controversial shit with purpose, not to entertain, not to, it's just spark conversation and to give perspective. That way, we all come back to the central point, come back to those goals. Let me know your view on it, because you need the gatekeepers and fact checkers in your life. Because it takes too much time for you to be doing all of that yourself. You need people around you that can gatekeep, fact check, protect you the same way that you can protect them. Because if you got to look over everybody and look over all the information they're telling you and look over all the stimuli and control all of it all the time, I'm not even going to consider what would happen if you try, because you can't do it. But again, I'll let you tomorrow, man.
bro, dude. J-Lo did it. world.